Yes, sir. We are live. Saturdays are for the big dogs. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the BDGE Dynasty channel. I'm here with all my big dogs. Big dogs gotta eat. I live for these days, Phil. You and me both, buddy. And we're coming hungry today. Today, we got a lot we gotta talk about. Yeah. Let me get a yer, man. Let me get somebody's yer. What's up? Here he is, man. The GOAT, Skylar Samuels. Dylan Moore. What's poppin', everybody? How we doing today? Got some things we just got to discuss. I mean, we're going into week 3. I'm not going to act like we have enough sample size to, call shots for the rest of the year, but we're starting to get some more clarity, honestly. Kind of curious where people's teams are at, what kind of questions you have, but we definitely have some things. I've updated the ranks. I've called some things pretty damn well this year. Listen, I told you guys Malik Neighbors wide receiver 1. I know probably you still want to fight me on that. We have Rome Odunze looking to be very much him in his offense. Plenty of misses, though. We have tons of surprises as well. Harold Fannin just kind of made a video on the South Harmon channel talking about, for me, he's going to be a sell at this point in price just because of David Njoku's presence still in this offense. It's hard to sell a Brown. We don't very often have many of them. But to me, Harold Fannin, if he's anywhere near first, would be a sell at the moment. What's going on, though, everybody? How are your teams looking? Do we have, if you're trying to contend, are we at least 1-1 with some good points for? Are we 0-2? I mean, let's talk it out. And if you have, start sit questions, whatever it may be, let me know. But if you have Dynasty teams you want me to look at, we will go over to the lab and check all of them out. All right. Phil, well, I have Hampton, DJ Moore, A.J. Brown, Hockenson all on the same team. Yeah, that's a good start if you're trying to rebuild. Got a weird little wave of light there, but that was not the way your team felt. Not quite blessed like that. I mean, this is pretty unfortunate luck. And honestly, this is one of the things I'll talk about, at least for this scenario here, right? With all the information we had in the offseason, there's just not any information for most of these players that told us, hey, you should be really, really concerned for most of them, right? I mean, there were signs of A.J. Brown getting older. We know basically when a receiver starts to get into the A.J. Brown range as far as age goes, your dynasty value is kind of really like anchored and tied down because of your age, but also hand in hand with your production. So when he comes out and has 2 really scary weeks, obviously the market's going to panic. DJ Moore getting to be the same kind of range. So, and Hockenson coming off the injury, I mean, that was one I missed for sure. I'm not ready to kind of write him off yet per se, but to see how little he's been using this offense is absolutely crazy. But this is why you got to be careful about sending in your picks in the offseason, right? Like, nothing about a team that's built with these guys says, hey, you're not going to be a contender. If you already sent your first in, I'm not going to say this team is cooked, but you're in a much worse, different spot. Okay, I got JCM and Brown in the flex right now. Is that A.J. Brown, I'm assuming? I also have Sampson, Golden, Boutte, and Andrews on the bench. Do I stick with JCM? That's a good question. Well, Golden to me is at this point, like I have a start 13 lineup league, right, where you got to literally start 13. We started in the first 2 weeks. I'm going to be honest. There's some other options I'm putting in this week. I need to see something out of Golden, even with the injury to Jaden Reed, before I'm like kind of putting him in the lineup. Andrews, man, is another one. Jeez, I mean, the usage is crazy. Judkins coming in, taking a lot of the work and run in his first week here. I imagine that's going to kind of be the trend. I think it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation where everyone else gets pretty phased out. I mean, if that's, yeah, I think you do. Kayshawn Boutte to me is still very much kind of a boom bust. Like, for example, if I had Drake May, maybe, throw him in, but for the stack, I think I'd go with JCM one more time. I will say I'm scared of the offense, though, as a whole, to see what it really looks like. So it's a tough spot to be in. Guys are breaking my hearts here early today. It's all right, we battle through. Yeah! What's up, Jacob Kittner, man? What's poppin', baby? Hey, man, Dynasty League. I'm 0-4 every week. You get another W or an L against the league median. Okay, yeah. So we got against the median scoring. My QBs are Purdy and Stafford, and I'm pretty old. Damn. Okay, so, and you got to trade in that league. All right. So against the median scoring is definitely a nice format because it kind of gets rid of. It depends how you like to play. I can see it either way, but it gets rid of the opportunity for you to just have this crazy gauntlet schedule that you got randomly put against and either miss the playoffs or, like, for example, I had a team actually last year, 2 years ago, that was the most points for in the league by like 400 or 500, which is significant. But I ended up losing 4 random games. My points against were also insane. So I didn't get a bye, and that was the year where Tyreek Hill was hurt coming off that crazy season he had, and then Kelsey and Mahomes were awful. I ended up losing in the I didn't get a bye essentially and lost in the semi. So that's a reason why the median scoring typically will make sure you don't have that happen. I mean, if you're in this position, I don't know what the rest of your team is, frankly, right? I think we got to talk about the rest of your team. Do you have your own pick? One of the things I will say, again, you can go check out a video I just dropped on South Harmon channel yesterday, ATM's Money Moves, where right now people are trading away their future picks 3 times the rate of last year. So people are already itching to go buy players from you. Given the fact that the 26 class looks so bad. And right now we're seeing the 2025 class really underwhelm, especially the early drafted players. There are some hits here, Tyler Warren, Egbuka doing well, right? But plenty of the guys you drafted earlier are not. I would say I need to know what the rest of your team is. And do you think, like, for example, if you're 0-4, the problem is your points for are probably telling me we should be selling. So as long as you have your first, I'd probably be in the market of exploring it because it's a great time to buy picks at the moment. Let's see here. Hope that answers. Nah, Hollywood Brown. Okay. Ooh. I'm leaving JCM in the lineup, though, to answer that question. Okay, I've got Chase, I got CD, and AJ Brown in a Dynasty IDP league. Would you sell one of those for some depth picks or some depth piece or picks even? Okay, so J-Fan, here's a question. To me, this is one of those where like as much context as possible helps me give you the best answer from my POV for your team, right? So a couple things I would say is it 12 team, 10 team, 14 team? Like how many teams are there? How many starting roster spots do we have? Typically in IDP leagues, the scoring doesn't really make them relevant. So unless it's like a super juiced defensive scoring boost, I'm probably not worried about the IDP portion of it. All that to say, if it's a shallow starting league, this is where I also go to Warp, and I can put this in and kind of give you an idea. So if it's a longer starting roster, and Warp would be telling me based on the scoring of your league that some of those, teens and 20s receivers or running backs, right, if we could pivot into those, it could end up making sense. But a lot of times in a really shallow starting format, right, the 12 team, let's say start 9, start 8, start 10 even a lot of times, these guys, the combination of A.J. Brown is not in this mix, right, but Chase and CD, for example, the combination of their production upside plus the fact that their market value is so insane, I'd like to hold them if possible in a format like that. So this depends on what your format is, my friend. So let me know all that, J-Fan. All right, T, Terry, Ridley, and Diggs. Which 2 should I start? Man, we got some there's some scary shit in here. I mean, dude, T. Higgins is like, to me, I think the offense is going to look a lot different with Browning. We've kind of seen this a little bit in the past. We'll see what the evolution is with Taylor, if it looks the same with Browning this year or if they have some things worked up their sleeve. But what we saw was basically Jamar Chase stays hella involved, and he's capable of doing it all. So they get him the ball a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, make sure he just gets the ball in his hands and let him go eat after, yards after the catch, so to speak. T. Higgins, to me, is very much a concern. I get a lot more worried with Brown in the lineup. I think I'm probably going to roll out with, let me just see. I'm trying to remember who the Titans are playing. The Colts at home. I think I'm rolling out Ridley. Diggs has to show me some more stuff. Terry. Man, Terry and T, kind of the same situation. I think I'm going to roll with T, honestly. I think I'm going to roll with T at the moment. I don't know. Mariota scares me a little more than Browning does personally. So I'm going to roll with T, and I'm going to roll with Ridley. Watch Scary Terry about to go crazy, but that's what I would be rolling with. Also Ricky P. Ooh, I think I'm staying with what I had, but that does make it a little more difficult even. Is Hawkinson for Pitts insane? ATP. Tell me. I'm normally pretty good with these acronyms. ATP. At this point, I'm imagining. Okay. Sorry, my brain was locked in. It was going to be bothered until it figured out what that was. I mean, I honestly, I think at this point, it would be kind of insane just because people are very reactionary in Dynasty. So I'm assuming this is Dynasty, but even if it's a redraft, in redraft they're way more reactionary, and honestly, you should be a little more reactionary in redraft. I think I want Pitts. I think the reason, obviously, the youth and the talent for T.J. Hawkins is still tremendous, and I still think better days are ahead. But Pitts has gotten a lot of work, and I think he's at this point, honestly, kind of a low-key buy for me, just because he's starting to actually get serious work. It looks like he's on the field more, and I hope that's to be the case and stay. So I think I'd rather have Pitts. Is it insane? I don't know if I'll call it insane, but I think it would be I think you're going to see a lot of panic selling of T.J. Hawkinson, which is why maybe you feel that way about the question. I get you, though, 100%, though. All right, I guess to go further in depth, how far do you wait personally? All right. Well, I mean, the one thing is with the median scoring, right? See, the median scoring, if you're deciding whether to go into a rebuild or not, it's kind of the true litmus test, if you will. A lot of people are super biased about their dynasty teams, and teams in general. Makes sense. We all have our own bias. It's our team. 0-4, though, like you're not beating nobody. You're beating literally nobody. It's not just random scheduling. So I'm just worried Stafford or Keenan Allen or Derrick Henry get hurt. Well, I mean, as you should be. So that's the other thing to keep in mind, right? Now, a lot of times, to me, the game of trading and dynasty and understanding the clock is, I don't want to say it's a science, but it's kind of a understanding your leverage. And right now, people might see your team as an older, crusty team that has to go rebuild. So, you know, I'm definitely exploring and trying to move off of these players. I just would say don't go crazy on the panic meter. But, for example, every one of those players that get old, right? A.J. Brown's even this way at this point. If he was to have a season-ending injury, his dynasty value goes to the sewer. Stafford, Keenan Allen. I mean, Keenan Allen, frankly, was already in the sewer all summer. So if you can move him for anything, I would do it. But I do think at this time, this is kind of your perfect window of opportunity. If you have an old, crusty build like this, to try to move players for picks. Draft picks are the one thing that is actually finite. Now, the 26th class is definitely being advertised as incredibly not very talented, let's say. I do agree with that as in sentiment, but also picks are value protected and insulated. So I'd be moving these players for sure, frankly. I think based on what you're at with 0-4, you can give me your roster and we can try to go, spam some offers if you want in the lab. But I think now is a very good window. If you do want to go into a rebuild, you can probably be one of the first to the punch. Unless the league has like teams that have already picked over a lot of the future first. All right, 10-team league, 9 offensive starters. Okay. See, this is why I asked that question. 10-team league to me, I don't know if it's Superflex. It's also, here you go. Well, you did tell me. It's also Superflex, the premium league. I'm 2-0 and I won last year. My picks off the last couple years, and my team's a little shaky at this point in terms of age at running back. Okay. Well, here's the thing about 10-team, right? In Superflex. Now, a lot of times people want to underplay this. But it's a huge difference for me in a 10-team and a 12-team and a 14-team league as far as quarterbacks. 14 teams the extreme where scarcity is insane. It makes the market for quarterbacks really insane. 12-team is kind of the happy medium where you can leverage quarterbacks, but a lot of times you can find a way to, go get the Jake Brownings, the Carson Wentzes of the world and stream quarterbacks in a bad situation. 10-team, scarcity doesn't exist, right? If you do the math on that, there's 20 starters weekly. So everybody typically sitting at least pretty with a third quarterback, or you'll probably look at plenty of teams that have 4 solid quarterbacks, but you can't move them. The market doesn't let you move them, which is all getting to the point of answering your question, why I like to know the context. Because in this 10-team league, that means inherently that the wide receiver, Chase and CD, they ain't you are going to have to pry them out of my cold, dead hands. I'm not moving them unless I'm getting a serious return to where I'm getting like potential early future draft capital and a tier down to like a Ibuka, let's say, if we were to stay at the receiver position, right? If I'm probably not even willing to go into the running backs unless I'm getting really, guys that are super talented as far as their profile, so that it's not like they're an injury away from just completely eroding their entire dynasty value. So I'm not moving those two. AJ Brown would be a consideration, but I think at the moment trading him away is it's a horrible time. His market is rotten at the moment. So no, I guess to answer your question, I'm not doing that in a 10 team with 9 offensive starters, right? And you think about we're only spreading the players across 10 teams and there's 9 starters. That's a shallow format. Absolutely hold those players at all costs. Don't, unless you're getting a serious return. And ask me about what type of offers you've gotten if you want to, but I'm going to imagine they're too light. Are you going to be going over the screenshots I sent you? Yes. So I am, and I'm working on that video. So right now, I'm doing all these lives and posting them afterwards. Used to have someone editing the videos. Right now, with new editing and all the videos that Nick's putting in front of you, I don't actually have someone editing my videos. So I'm doing that on my own, which is why we're getting these out at least on a weekly basis. But I'm going to be trying to work in here during the season some videos that I'm doing and then editing on my own and putting them on a regular scheduled release. So that coming sometime this week, Jesse, where I will be kind of going over roster construction and looking at specific teams so that you can actually know what I mean when I start to give you certain tactics and talking about roster construction. If Ibuka doesn't play, do I go Tillman, Downs, or Scatabo? Full PPR. Man, Tillman is, I'll be honest, Tillman is this, he's one of these extreme outliers that just continues to perform, though. I think, honestly, I think my bias is too serious. I think I'm going to go with Tillman. I could definitely make the case. In full PPR for Downs, I could certainly make the case. He's a little bit scarier to me right now, but he did have a much healthier target volume last week. I think I'm going Tillman. If you tell me this is a half PPR league, I'm probably just going to go Scatabo. I kind of liked what we saw to him in his usage. But I think right now, they're at home, and I think they're going to probably be trailing versus the Packers. Let's go with Cedric Tillman personally, if Ibuka doesn't suit up. Good morning. What's going on, AJ Urban? Did you ever think about how the word bed looks like an actual bed? Yeah, I have, just right now. And what's pretty cool about it is you can see how there's a, actually, let me ask you this. Do you have a like, you get a headboard, right? That's the B, let's call it. Do you have a footboard on your bed? That'd be pretty sweet. Someone had a footboard. I would tell you that would make, for me, a big problem. At 6'4", my feet tend to hang off every bed that isn't something crazy long. Pause. But is it crazy? I'm debating starting Danny Dimes over Jalen Hurts. I mean, well, let's just say it is, just because 2 weeks ago, everyone's laughing at you. I mean, at the moment, it's not crazy. No. I mean, Daniel Jones, dude, I don't know if you guys heard this stat. You probably have at some point, but if not, I'll just repeat it. Daniel Jones has led the first and only team in the Super Bowl era to not punt the ball for 2 straight games. Not a single punt. The punter collecting checks just over there on the sideline. I don't know if he's probably the holder, but for kicking. But man, crazy the start he's on and the run he's on. I actually have him in a few spots. Fade the fetal. I'm probably gonna have to consider starting him this week. I would say no, it's not crazy at all. I don't know that I'm doing it, but I just think this Rams and Eagles game could end up being, very slow paced, and it's not crazy. It's not crazy at all. You got 2 weeks of Daniel Jones actually looking legit. I mean, here's the way I answer the question, though, if I actually do it, right? Considering and debating it is one thing. If we know, we don't have a time machine. No fortune tellers here, right? But if you kind of think about this in hindsight now, let's pretend today is, Monday, Tuesday. You look back, If Jalen Hurts is in your starting lineup and Daniel Jones goes off, okay, that's scenario one. Now, let's say Daniel Jones is in your starting lineup and Jalen Hurts goes off. Which one can you live with? I think a lot of times the idea of Danny Dimes is in the lineup and then Jalen Hurts is on your bench and going crazy. That's one typically that people can't stomach, which is why they end up leaning with Jalen Hurts. If you feel like that's not the case for you, put Daniel Jones in. I don't even have a problem with it at all. I think they're both right now, until further notice, or until Daniel Jones goes back to the pumpkin, so to speak. He's a quarterback one right now. Okay. George C, what's going on, man? Redraft. Would you trade Worthy for Pearsall? My only other receivers are Jefferson, McLaurin, Mooney, and Golden. It's tough to say. I mean, I don't know. If you really think you need Pearsall, fine. I mean, the one thing is too for Worthy. Obviously, we do have Rice coming back at some point here, and the more time we get closer to that window, Xavier Worthy is going to have to still prove that he's going to be able to be a him type of a player while Rice is out there. Honestly, I don't hate it. I really don't. I think Xavier Worthy's polarizing, right? I think I'm kind of more in the middle, frankly, but I would think I'm cooler than a lot of the just overall players in the game, fantasy football players, on Xavier Worthy. So I think I probably would, I probably would if you actually really need to make this trade. If you don't think you need to, and you're willing to kind of go with this lineup as is, you could probably wait and see. But I don't personally hate it. Thoughts on DJ Moore rest of the season outlook? Yeah, I think I think a lot of times we kind of move the needle a little too much one way or the other. Recency bias is the word that you'll hear me use often for that. I was very big on Rome this whole offseason, and I talked about how with Keenan Allen out of the way, right, everyone's, everyone, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I heard about Luther Burden and Colson Loveland. Now, I'm not telling you that those guys are cooked for the rest of eternity, but I never really viewed them as a threat to Rome or DJ Moore's targets, period. And you look at last year, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome were all over 100 targets for the season, and the top 33. So very rare that a team has three wide receivers over 100 targets in a year. And the reason I'm talking about this with DJ Moore, getting back to that point now, to me, Rome was a clear 1A, 1B in this offense. And I'll call it 1B at the moment. Because I think the reason this is happening is we'll see how teams kind of have to play this moving forward. But teams give DJ Moore a lot of respect, as they should, as the kind of the one. And I do think that there's going to be better days ahead for DJ Moore, and there's going to be days where if they start to kind of shift, a little more attention, and you're looking more at tapes and defensive coverages to where they're focusing on Rome a little more, DJ Moore is going to eat still. So I think right now he probably is being a little too depressed as far as like people really panicking. I do think, though, there's a chance where DJ Moore is a little more like boom bust than we've really remembered him in more recent years, going back to, like the Carolina days and stuff. So I think he's probably not a very safe floor option, but I do think there's going to be days where he goes crazy, if that makes sense. Yeah, no problem, Jesse. I got you, buddy. I had to drop Milrow for Tyrod Taylor. Oh, no. Oh, man. Can you get him? Did you get him back? That's tough, dude. And I hate that for you. But hopefully you got him back, or I get it. I get the situation. To me, in Dynasty, the roster limits in Dynasty, as far as like positional limits, is just, I hate that. I really do hate that for you. Who do you think gets the middle armrest on a plane? 2 seats, 1 middle armrest. Well, what are the candidates? Me or you? I mean, come on, AJ. You know I love you, buddy, but you'd only get that middle armrest if I let you have it, Howdy, crew. What's up, man? All right, I've got another league that I just traded Brees for a 26 first, 226 seconds. I traded Chase from McMillan and 226 first. It would be cool to get your opinion on what to do from here. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the lab. Let's do it, man. Personally, this is fun for me. So let's go check it out. JCam. We're gonna go to I'm gonna show you guys my JCam feed here. All right. Gonna put JCam under the microscope. JFam, what's going on, buddy? All right, let's take a look. 13 Dynasty leagues. I love it. Or, well, I shouldn't say that. 13 leagues. Which one was it you said? Okay, which league is it, buddy? Talk to me. Balls deep. Maybe that one. If you're trading these players for picks, though, I kind of imagine we're looking at one of the other ones here. I'll wait for you to tell me what league and then get to this question at the moment. Okay, half PPR. Would you trade JCM and Ridley for JSN? Both are on my bench right now. Oh, yeah, definitely. So I don't know if this is this Dynasty or Redraft. If it's Redraft, I mean, it's pretty clear to me. If these guys are bench options for you, in Redraft, consolidation is like always the thing to do. So I shouldn't say always, but largely the thing I would prefer to do, especially if these are bench options. In Dynasty, I mean, it's even easier, frankly. In Dynasty, that would be crazy. I would do that in a heartbeat. So either way, let's roll with it. Yes. Rumple foreskin, even better. All right, let's get to it. Okay, this makes sense. 10th ranking. Let's go into the lab. Let's see what you got, buddy. Let's see what you're working with here. Okay, it's a 10-team league. So let's start at the top. Start at the top and work our way down. All right, so we got Baker and Dak. Okay, so 2 quarterback at least there. One of the nice things about that, and to note, is it at least plays – the scarcity doesn't exist, right? But it does make them slightly more valuable. You can't get away with putting a skill player in a Superflex spot. A lot of times in 10-team, though, you don't have to. You can get a quarterback pretty cheap. Travis Etienne, Nick Chubb. Based on what we're doing, I think – I don't know if you can move him really, but Nick Chubb, kind of a gotta-go candidate. Probably Etienne as well. DK Metcalf, Tet, we got Wan'Dale Robinson, TJ Hawk, we got Ertz, Chig, Cooper Kupp, we got T-Law, Cam Ward, excuse me, Gabriel Howard, Shadur. So you've got the future of the Browns quarterback room until we go over and have a new one next year. Joe Milton, let's see, Blake Corum on the bench, Rocket Sanders, Josh Downs, okay, Hunter Burden, my guy Noah Fant. All right, so we have 4 first and 26. Love to see it. Let's see. Sev Dog towards the top. Snaggletooth is in the middle, and we got Jeff DeFuel at the top. Okay. I think you're in a great spot, obviously, having all these picks. Now, as far as the rest of the roster, I think when you're in a situation like this, a lot of times there's, I would say the majority of times in Dynasty, people have a hard time with the idea of tearing it down to the studs. And what I mean by that is like kind of not even looking at your lineup as value pieces. Like almost looking at your lineup and inherently knowing your team is going to be really gross and terrible off of that. Frankly, if I'm in this type of a build, right, like you could make the case that, let's say 3 of those, let's say 2 of those picks you have in 26, you have 4. Let's say 2 of them end up being late. Let's say that one is kind of a mid pick, and then you have your early one. Like just forecasting out, now this is not how I play for the record, but if you were to put those players into your lineup, and this is what a lot of people do, you're not necessarily with this type of roster in a position to be contending even next year, right? So I think that's kind of one of the traps people can fall into is, in this scenario here, I'm basically going to be trying to trade away nearly everybody on my roster. Like there's not a player in your team. Now, Tet would be the one. I'm holding on to him right here probably. I'm not locked into doing that, but I'm not itching to get off of Tet, and probably most offers that are coming to me for market value or anything lighter than that, I'm just kind of telling them to kick rocks. But I'm letting all these players go for draft picks. Baker, Dak don't have any value insulation. One of the things is if any of these guys get hurt, you're going to be looking at a, very downward trending asset. And you got, you got some players that I think you could at least get seconds for. I think in this format, I don't know. I doubt DK can get you a first, but that's what I'm looking for. I think I'd probably rather hold than take like 2 seconds there. But I think right now what I'm making sure I do is stay at the 101. I want to make sure I lock in 101 for next year. So I think you're in a good spot. I would say if people are willing to pay up for quarterbacks in this league, I think I'm definitely willing to do it. And this is what I'm talking about in 10 team, right? If I had Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, T-Law, and Cam Ward, while that's not like an outstanding, ridiculous quarterback room, in a 12-team league, I have a bunch of leverage that I'm just waiting until buys and injuries continue to happen, and now I can use that leverage. A lot of times in this league format, you get stuck with them. So if you have anyone coming and willing to buy these quarterbacks, I think you would be doing yourself a favor to move off of one when that opportunity arises, if it does. Okay, I've had offers for Dak and DK, but they're all 28. So here's another thing. Dak, for example, right? Perfect. Yeah, I will take future liquidity in 2028 even, honestly, for him. Especially knowing, look at your quarterback room. One, you don't care about scoring points this year. So that's what Dak is actually, that's his calling card, is going to be scoring points this year. So I would take 28 picks, honestly, to get off of a quarterback in this league. You'll still have 3 starters. I'll tell you another thing you can do here. Now, a lot of people don't like to do this, and again, it's an uncomfortable thing. But think about, I just talked about this on a video. Think about draft picks as cash, right? Honestly, some of my best built teams, I have used some draft picks and drafted players. But more often than not, I've actually used a lot of them as leverage. Think about draft picks like this, okay? So while 2028 is down the road asset, let's say you grab a 28 first for Dak and a 28 first for DK. Just this is a theoretical. I'm not saying those offers exist. Let's just say theoretically you can. Now you have 3 firsts in 2028. So while no one cares about it right now, let's say now when we're going into next year, 2028, obviously 2027's picks are going to be at a premium. Everyone really likes that class. But all of a sudden, 2028 is only a year behind. You're going to be able to probably, if you wanted to, if your team was in the contention window, you could leverage 2, and now having your own, you could leverage 3 firsts to a team that ends up being in dire straits and get a player that's a significant value. Think about this right now from Dak and DK. You could package Dak and DK up to a lot of different assets, but they're not going to get you to the top of the table, right? So I think a lot of times, even though they're depressed and they're down the road picks, people are going to be saying, it's 1,000 days away till the draft. You don't have to wait until the draft to actually utilize the pick. So I'm taking the cash here, frankly. Now, I mean, I'm not telling you that you can't try to counter for the 26 or 27 picks, but I have zero problem taking those, letting the, kind of kicking the can down the road, taking those picks, knowing how I want to leverage them out. I'll say one thing is if you want to do that, you're considering taking the 28 pick, and if you don't want to hit the counter button, hit them with the ATM where you would just send a new offer. So let's say Dak's been offered to you for a first. Just send a brand new offer out. Dak for a 26 first or a 27 first. They hit decline. You just go back and accept that other offer. A lot of times it doesn't come down to that, but sometimes people, when you they feel like you ask way too much and they send a reasonable offer, all of a sudden that first offer doesn't exist anymore. Good way to make sure you don't have that happen. Let's see. Where was I at here? Okay, there it is. Got it. All right, Alan, what's up? Would you be okay? By the way, I hope that answers your question, JFam. If it doesn't, let me know. Pull your team back up here. Would you be okay with checking redraft? Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Absolutely. I have a league that I use your idiot league mate settings. Nice. Of course, yeah. Lab can work for redraft too. It's just a lot of times I'm doing it with Dynasty. Let's see. Oh, adequate. What's up, man? Nice to put a. It's kind of funny. A lot of times I can't really putting the name to the face, so to speak. But this is not really the YouTube and Discord tie together. Gotcha. All right. So let's take a look at that squad, buddy. Let's see if your team's adequate or not. All right. Got 6. Which one is it? I guess I could probably find it. Team name is Jackson. Thank you. Oh wait, which did you tell me which? I guess I'll find it in here somewhere. Maybe, maybe not. Which league is it? 9. Am I tripping? What you mean 9? Is it this team? I'm just going to look at this one and see. A lot of times you can tell. Yeah, by the bench typically will be the dead giveaway. Okay. Because a bench this short typically doesn't exist in Dynasty. All right, so this is a redraft. We're looking at Superflex. Okay, sweet. So this is exactly like you said, your 8 league mates as well. I mean, well, Purdy, you got Stafford, so I think you're fine at quarterback. I like your build a lot, honestly. We both have Rome, Saquon. If the scoring is, not juiced anywhere else, he's a really, really dope asset to have. I like Scatterbo. I have him as well. I will say the one thing is obviously that running back 2 spot is kind of dicey. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I in a perfect world, and you kind of hope that Scatterbo ends up starting to get more run, or vice versa. What you don't want to have is on an offense that's, not necessarily to score a lot of points when they're not playing against Dallas. Running backs that are splitting work, and then not having anyone else rostered. So I think that's what I would say. Injuries, and we got buys coming up. So I think at the moment, while I can definitely understand going thin, especially with having Saquon. Like right now, you have, I would probably be, as opposed to rostering all of these receivers, I'd probably roster one less. I mean, it's tough because right now none of these are cut candidates at all. This is just one of those things that happens in redraft with the shallow bench, right? It's hard to consolidate those players and trade them into one piece up, but that would be what I would try to do. That's what always happens in your 8 league mates. That's always when people get upset with me because I don't let them tier up. But that's, I think, the only thing I would say about the roster, because you've got, what do you have? You got 4 receivers right here: Puka, Zay, Rome, DJ Moore, and then you got 5 on the bench. Is that right? So it's a little overkill there. All you're gonna do is really give yourself a lot of weekly headaches, especially if you end up deciding to ever sit DJ Moore. But I think right now Puka, Zay, and Rome are locked and loaded. And Tucker Kraft is your team's great, man. Team's in a very good spot. AFL, okay, good. Wait, made a big trade before the season, traded James Cook and Chase Brown. Wait, traded James Cook, Chase Brown in London for Saquon, Puka, DJ. I think I still like it for you. James, I would say Chase Brown will be the interesting one to see how he does without Burrow this year, realistically. But James Cook is having himself a hell of a start. I think I still like it your side, but we'll see what DJ Moore does, and we'll see what Chase Brown does to really round out that big trade for you. I mean, this is where it's tough, frankly. Like, what I would do, I hate to say this, but it's almost like a prey on the weak mentality. I'm looking at teams that I'm trying to find, like, there's no way he's obviously not putting Mixon in. Someone rostering Mixon probably is, my God, his team's so bad. I don't even know if you could. But I think you might be able to. Oh, man, and he's got Rashee Rice. Wow, this is who you traded with earlier, too. So I don't know if this will work, but, like, could you consolidate 2 of those? I don't even know if Shakir really does that much for you relative to your team, but, could I consolidate 2 of those receivers on the bench for a Shakir type thing? Would be nice. I think with the running back situation you have, this probably isn't your best candidate, though. Yikes, some of these teams are pretty desperate. Probably not one here. Like, here's a scenario. I mean, maybe you can get Addison before the bye, or before the Could you consolidate 2 of those receivers to this player for Addison before he comes back from suspension? Dylan Sampson might be a sneaky candidate, or a J.K. Dobbins would be a sneaky candidate, right? Get yourself some running back depth. I think this might be your person to try to package up something with here. 12-team quarterback. Well, 12-team, 1 quarterback, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2 flex, 1 super flex. The sleeper name is Refinery. Benchwarmers Dynasty. Got you, pal. Let's get to it. Let's get in the lab, man. Refinery. I must have typed that in. And I sure did type it in wrong. Can't freaking type. What's wrong with this guy, man? Get your shit together over there. All right, Refinery. And you said it was Benchwarmers, right? Right here at the top. Let's take a look at Benchwarmers Dynasty. Refinery. What are we working with here? Let's see how many teams. Okay, 12-team. Looks like you got all your picks. You've traded in your second for this season. Or for next season, sorry. All right. Start at the top. McCarthy, Cook, JCM, Puka, Chase, TJ Hawkinson. We got Tet, Kenneth Walker, Russell Wilson. I mean, dude. Quarterback situation went from supposed to not be that tough to tough, huh? You don't get Wentz, which is probably fine, but I mean, you're going to be playing Browning and Russ until they decide no longer to let Russ cook. Yeah, okay. You already highlighted the QB situation. Yeah, shit like this can happen, unfortunately. All right, so damn, and your points for is like right there in the mix. You have your first. You got really good receivers. Damn. I mean, here's the thing. Right now, at the moment, first are kind of being tossed around like they're being discarded as if they're nothing. And the 26 class is kind of projecting to be shit. So, like, I don't really know if you can even move your first 4 quarterbacks. That's probably what I'd be considering doing, frankly, at this point. Or another thing you might be able to do is actually package up. So can I McCarthy plus that first to get yourself just away from troubled waters, so to speak, and to a team that's rebuilding. Let's see what we got. Let's try to cook something up, big guy. I don't know if it would work here, but I mean, could you send JJ McCarthy in that first? Can that get you Herbert? He's been playing really, really well to this team here, rebuilding. I would. Nobody. Oh my God. What is this team doing? Bro, how you got, dude, Hawks, this is, how you going to have the lowest points for in the league, 0-4 against the median scoring, and you don't have your 27 and 28 picks. I mean, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Okay, let's see what we got here, though. So that player, I don't know, maybe they're not actually trying to rebuild is the point I was making. Purdy's hurt. Like, I mean, I would consider, with your team, I would consider paying up for Lamar, frankly. So I just don't think it'll get done. But let's see. J.J. McCarthy, a first. You probably have to come off of a skill player. And you don't have much depth on your bench either. He probably won't come off Lamar, frankly, for what you have to offer. Money man. Money man. Okay. Yeesh. I mean, I'd probably try it for Bo Nix as well, frankly. JD, same thing, probably won't get done. But, I mean, here's the thing. When you see teams that are bad that have those quarterbacks, that's typically where, if you were able to go get a JD or a Lamar, you could get it done. So, it's just tough because you don't really have excess to really, But could I throw Jaden Higgins? Could I throw Jaden Higgins in a first and McCarthy Shit, that probably doesn't even get it done, honestly. Fuck it. For those guys, for Lamar, I'd probably send 2 firsts and a McCarthy, something like that. Even it's just see. That would give you a good bearing on if it's possible. Let's see. What was the other team to look at here? DePrestard. This guy has been taking on picks, so you know he's probably, this might be your guy. Let's see if the quarterbacks make sense. I mean, okay. So here's a great trade partner, right? Based on the build, look, all those young receivers, you can tell what he's trying to do. I'd give him a couple options. I think right now what I'd just do right away, frankly, I'd offer JJ McCarthy for Dak straight up. First. If that doesn't get done, can I send my first for Dak? Would you rather that instead? Perfect. So I think typically a team like this, having a T-Law, having a May, would prefer that option. But I would also probably at this point with what's going on with McCarthy, if he's not really willing to move Dak or, really thinks he might actually be more of a contending team, maybe I can send a first and JJ McCarthy to get Drake May. I think that's probably what I would do. Give him a couple options. I would stay away from T-Law personally. Plus, he has the Brian Thomas, BTJ, and T-Law stack. So I think that's what I would do. I think that's where I would go right here. I think there is your best and most likely trade partner. Dak, does McCarthy get me there? Does a first get me there? And then, would both assets, JJ McCarthy and a first, get me to Drake May? Boom. It's a little yikes curious if you think I should wait for next year and try. I think I think your team is good enough to where you should go for it in that scenario. But basically, I'm not getting crazy with my draft picks unless I'm getting a guy like Dak who could be a legit, high-end producer or a true stud like a Lamar. Drake May, I think, would be a good example of someone I would be willing to do it for as well. But it's also okay sometimes it happens where you have to tear it down. I think right now your team's not in the position to need to tear it down personally. So yeah, and Hawk is a bust this year so far, but I no guarantee that stays the same. And also you can get away with having a gross tight end and still contending. No problem, man. No problem. Get through a couple of these and get through the last few questions here, and we'll get you guys on your merry way. If you have any questions as well after this is over, at me in the Discord. I'm not always able to get to every single one of them, but I do try to when I have a chance. My kids are down, I'm not running around trying to be super dad. To get back to the questions, how are you feeling about Kraft this week generally? Oh, and I got him on the thumbnail too. Tucker Kraft, I'll say this in Dynasty right now. It's kind of tough when this happens actually. Like Tucker Kraft I have been the Tucker Kraft stan for the longest. Back when Luke Musgrave was a starter right away and everyone was telling me Tucker Kraft's cooked. To finally see him become the prince that was promised. But it's time to, dude, if he's legitimately being valued as like top 4, top 3 tight ends, I love him, but it's time to sell. How am I feeling about him this week? I feel great though about him for the week. I think there's been a lot of times in this offense in general in Green Bay, it's just like it's not enough consolidated targets, and it's just distributed in such a wacky way. It's impossible to figure out who's going to really be the one you want. So that's kind of been, Tucker Kraft's kind of just been involved in that. Is it a good week for him or not based on what the volume looks like in the game? I think with Jaden Reed's injury, there's a case to be made that he could even take a bigger leap. So I think right now, a Lambo leap, if you will. I think right now I would play Kraft. But that being said, Juwan Johnson's also been a fucking legend so far. I think you already have I think you personally have your answer. To me, I would be doing this. Kraft is in my tight end spot, and Igbuka would be, if he's playing and gonna play the full healthy amount of snaps, that's probably what I'm doing. unless the tight end premium is high enough to where it just makes sense to play both. And then if Igbo goes out, you just play both. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. Okay. Oh, man. Dude, I just realized, by the way, I'm sorry, dude. I missed your... This guy's always asking me the one-offs, and I completely missed this one, I think. I'm sorry, boss. Let me go in here to the lab. See, I bullied you out of the armrest, and now fucking shit up. Hold on. Yeah, I got you. AJ Ben 2. I think this is the first time we've had Mr. Urban in the lab. Hot chair. Let's see what we got. So it is Omaha Dynasty 1. Okay. Nice. My man is sitting Purdy. Ahead of Purdy. Okay, Jalen Hurts, HN. Any move you should make? Sorry, I realized when you asked me this question that I must have missed one. My bad, AJ. I see you got the laughing emoji. My fault, dog. I got you, though. All right, better late than never. More context. Perfect. Now I'm all caught up. Just regular PPR setting. Much love for the look. Got you, boss. It's what I'm here for, all right? It's what I'm here for. Okay, so let's get through it. We got Jalen Hurts, we got HN, we got Saquon, Puka, Devontae Adams, Debo, Laporta, James Cook, Chuba, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard. Nice. So this one quarterback, right? Yeah. I mean, I will say I love the conviction on just don't roster another quarterback. When I say that, I mean that shit. I love it. DJ Moore, Ridley on the bench. I mean, your team looks really good. Now, one quarterback, excuse me. I think in one quarterback especially, here's what I say. In Superflex, because of the mystery box and the fact that there is scarcity, especially like 12-team leagues, I'll tend to lean a lot more in a vacuum, let's say, towards the pick than the player. In one quarterback, it's the other way around. So I'm perfectly fine moving in a first in 26 for this type of a team. I mean, your team's stacked. It's fucking stacked. What type of move should you be trying to make? I mean, I think you have enough depth to where I would definitely be wanting to tier up. The problem is in these one quarterback formats, like the tier up options, right? Everybody knows and wants to have those type of players, and since no one cares about the quarterbacks outside of, let's say, 4, 5, 6 of them. It's but I think that's what I'm doing, honestly. Let me just see. Let's see what we got here. Is there anyone at the bottom who is like this guy's got? He probably has your pick too. He does. Okay, but he might just be so picked over. It's not really. Yep, exactly what I thought. And this guy's doing a really great job not scoring fucking points. Yikes. Okay, Cornette. Let's see what we got here. There's not. Sheesh. Yeah, I'm not. There's nothing there that helps you. I mean, you're looking for someone that would be. The problem is most people that have consolidated really good options probably aren't in the sewer in a one quarterback format. But I'm kind of looking to see if I can consolidate if it makes sense. I think here you go. Listen, coming off a scary game, everyone that typically is rebuilding, I think Derrick Henry would. I think this is the type of team you can lean into it. Go ahead and get a Derrick Henry. I look at your team right now. Achane, Barkley, and Cook are probably set it and forget it. But like, bye weeks are coming, and I think Swift, Pollard, Chuba. Right now, Chuba's definitely in your lineup, and you shouldn't be thinking twice about it. But I think that's the type of player I would be looking to go get. I will say, I just don't know what you give him back. I don't know if you want to. With your build, I don't think your team's in any type of dire stress soon. I'd probably be willing to send a 27 first, even though that class is really hyper valuable. So I don't know if you're wanting to make that type of a move. And if you wanted to keep your pick there, I could understand it. But I think what I'm looking to do is probably, if I can't do that, boost. I'd either like to boost a little bit in my receiver room, or go for one more stud running back to kind of. I think with injuries that are probably going to come, hopefully not to your team, knock on wood, but like I think you're a stud or two away. Like one extra stud into this lineup to me. Right now everyone's playing great, don't get me wrong, but one extra stud into this roster, you're going to be fucking a really hard team to beat. Not that you already aren't, but that's the type of move I would be making personally here, is especially as the weeks continue to press on with this type of a team, lock in one more stud, and I think you're going to be a juggernaut. Not that you aren't currently, but that's what I'd be kind of looking to do. You just got to wait for the right time, my personal opinion. Oh my God, you're late. What's good, big dog? Hey, you're late, but you're here. All right, Maddie Higgins. Just in time for me to get the hell out of here, unfortunately. Getting ready to go check out one of my guys that I haven't seen in a while, but I will answer a couple questions that are left if they have them. Oh, and I did miss this one. Would you trade JCM and AGB for Ladd? Yeah, I think I would. I don't love it. But I think I would. I'm not 100% out. The reason I'm not 100% out is because it's not 100% that you can realistically get out for real value. Like, I'm not panicked to the point where, like, I'm definitely nervous, very much so, okay? I have him in redraft, I have him in Dynasty leagues. I'm not panicked to the point where I'm just, like, panic selling, so to speak, meaning I'm going to get off for, like, a second or, like, sell him for whatever the fuck I can get. So I'm not 100% out. But I am of the mindset right now, especially because I have a lot of shares of him. If I can get myself into a first and just kind of re-roll, I'm very much willing to do that. So I'm not 100% out, but he'll probably end up being so great, but I'm kind of out. I'm not 100% out though. He just had a big trade for Kyler and Marv. I tried Burrow and 2 firsts for Lamar and was shot down. I mean, geez. Dude, I probably wouldn't even have done that, frankly. So he might have done you a favor. I mean, it's good to know that, yeah, Lamar trade wasn't going to happen anyway. Burrow and 2 firsts? I mean, now granted, that's the other thing that's insane. Wasn't that guy kind of like closer on the rebuild side? Sometimes people are confusing in Dynasty. This is one of those things you got to know your league mates, though, man. Teams that want to contend that suck. Listen, I will take your picks in a quick jiffy. Would you trade? He says, I mean, Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs look good in the Viking system. Surely McCarthy will be fine. That's inherently, though, this is the problem, Andrew. Watch too. If Carson Wentz looks somewhat solid for 2 games, oh my gosh, the drum beats will be so loud for getting him out the door. Would you send Garrett Wilson in the 27 first for Nico? I would not. 27 first are such great leverage pieces, man. If I have 2 or 3 27 firsts, I don't have to even wait for that class to come around. I can sell those as gold-plated draft picks. No, I'm not doing it. It's not that I don't believe in Nico even. I believe in Garrett Wilson, the player, too, but I think the situations are closer than we want to say. Like, C.J. Stroud right now just doesn't have time. I don't think this offensive line just gets fixed overnight. I think there's going to be I would prefer Nico to Garrett Wilson, yes, but not enough to send the first. If I'm sending a 27 first with Garrett Wilson, I'm going to the top table. I'm going to the Pukas, the guys that I think are, a little bit above where Nico's at. So that next tier. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep this first and figure out something else to do with it. So that would be where I'm at, my guy. Made a big trade recently, down tiering Bowers, and just got Garrett Wilson from it, seeing how I can upgrade him. Yeah, Listen, I think that's a heady move. and I'll say this: a lot of times the tier up game can become a little bit easier, and you can have a little, better time once. For the lack of, we don't want this to happen, but there's going to be more injuries, there's more attrition, and then bye weeks, right? When people are looking at putting in legitimately, they have no choice but to start. Like Kayshon Bouttie's already locked into a flex spot, and they have someone else that they are trying to figure out who they're going to put in the flex spot. It's really gross. Those times are when you can actually probably get those tier ups to try to happen. So that's what I would say. Patience. We're close. Week 5, I believe, is when the bye starts. So you're right there, Maddie. Appreciate all you guys. If you do want to be a part of these chats, these live streams, if you want to be in the Discord with Nick, myself, and all of our fine, beautiful big dogs, make sure you go over to bdge.co, become a big dog member. Listen, it's $9.99 a month. At this time of year, I would tell you that you cannot find a better value at $9.99 a month ever. Doesn't exist. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real. Go get yourself into the bdge.co, become a big dog member. Dynasty ranks, all kinds of stuff for $10. We love you, and I will see you back here, same time, same place next week on the BDGE Dynasty channel, doing live streams with the beautiful big dogs. We're out of this thing. Peace.